Welcome to Hermetic Temple Radio on Tarot Tuesday. Today we're going to be talking about tarot reading a little bit. Tarot reading, not just another job. Matter of fact, I think we could say it's not just a job, it's an adventure. But seriously, a lot of people approach tarot reading when they first get into it. They approach tarot reading as just another job. You know, you go onto the tarot reading sites if you're an advisor. You check in, at 9 o'clock in the morning. You expect to check out at 5 o'clock at night. You expect people to be there, coming to your cyber door if you're doing it over the internet on a regular basis. Or if you do it out of your home or out of a studio or, face-to-face elsewhere in the real world. You expect people to be coming to your reading table and just keeping you busy on a regular basis. And tarot reading is not just another 9-to-5 job. The hours are going to be somewhat irregular, and we'll get into more as to why that is later on in this broadcast. Plus, you're not always going to be keeping busy. Some days you will be remarkably busy if you're a good reader, and you'll be thinking, oh my goodness, this is great. And other times, you may be wondering, what the heck just happened? How am I going to pay the light bill? Business has just dried up and I don't know why. And you just have to accept that tarot reading, if you're doing it to earn a living, it's not just another job. It's not just an occupation. This is a vocation. This is like a ministry. And you really can't afford to approach it like a regular 9-to-5 job. And we're going to be getting into that coming up in just a few minutes. Right now I'm going to play some introductory music to kind of set the mood. This is one of my favorite short pieces, Welcome by Mojo Radio. Okay, that's some of my incidental music. Today our musical format is going to be kind of on the mellow side. That was Welcome by Mojo Radio. And coming up next, we're going to have a few selections by the Russian Paul McCartney, Yuri Liamkins. I've got Nowhere to Drive, Primal Dance, and Treasure coming up over the next hour by him. And then, if all goes well, we might just close out with a little bit of Hunter and the Dirty Jacks, kind of closing it out on more of a southern rock theme. But for now, let's talk about tarot. After all, that is the title of this series, Tarot Talk. And I first got into tarot reading. I mean, my very, very first time. I was not doing it for money. I was just doing it for fun and out of curiosity, and I just felt a calling. Let's just say a calling, which is kind of neat in my position, because when I first got into tarot reading, at least in this lifetime, I was in high school. I was in high school seminary. I was operating on the intention that I would become a Roman Catholic priest. And so I was interested in a ministry. And I just felt a very close connection to God as I understood God and spirits. I didn't have a whole lot of formal training in theology at that time. All I knew is what I heard in church and the counseling I was given by some wise hermits and Roman Catholic nuns. And they got me started off on the spiritual path. Now, from their perspective, the proper spiritual path would have been, joining the church, keeping active in the church, going into seminary, getting the religious training, and then pray, meditate, do church on Sunday, do church during the week. And that was pretty much, their entire shtick right there. Just kind of go ahead and go the traditional church route. Now, when it came to asceticism, mysticism, and actually communing with the spiritual realm and the source of all being, that they really didn't get into, but that was more my shtick. That was my main interest. And I actually got into seminary because I thought somewhere in the seminary curriculum there was going to be a course like how to talk to God or communing with spirits or how to how to connect with Jesus and Mary and all those people. And sadly enough, in all my seminary training, I think I only had about maybe 30 minutes of instruction on the art of meditation, and that was about it. They also taught us how to walk peacefully through a labyrinth and call that meditation, and it is a relaxing practice. But when it came to the stuff I was really interested in, seminary program was lacking, just lacking tremendously. Of course, that was 40 years ago. Things may have changed by now. But at roughly the same time that I was getting into high school seminary and just starting my search for my connection with the divine source, going through the traditional church route, I also developed an interest in the art of tarot reading. And for me, I think I've told this story before. It came after seeing a James Bond movie, Live and Let Die, watching Jane Seymour playing with the tarot cards, Miss Solitaire. And that just reawakened something in me. And so I ran out, I got my first deck of tarot cards, and began playing with them, studying them, looking through the the little book that came with it, and trying to memorize the meanings of the cards, and learning the different tarot spreads. Actually, it was just a Celtic cross spread that I did, and that got me through a little bit of high school. But as I was learning the art of tarot, something just spoke to me, and I just felt like this is a perfect tool for connecting with the divine. And one thing that seminary did help me with, I know up to now I've given kind of a negative view on seminary, but what seminary did help me with tremendously is learning the art of spiritual counseling, how you can best do spiritual counseling, and how not to do spiritual counseling, and how to take care of yourself when you are involved in a ministry that is going to take a lot out of you. See, when many people think about a vocation or a ministry or working for the church or talking to the angels or the spirits or communing with God and just hanging out with the source of all being and nature and things like that, most of the times we think of the nice, light, fluffy bunny stuff. The easy stuff. We're living a life of love. We're serving our fellow human being. We're just hanging out and talking with the spirits, and everything is just wonderful. And most people think that, yeah, this is a very blessed thing to be doing, ministry, in whatever form of ministry you find yourself. Could be Christian, could be Jewish, could be Islamic, could be Hindu, Buddhist, could be pagan, Wiccan, many, 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 many different spiritual paths and many different forms of valid ministry out there. But when people get the idea that they're going to be involved in a ministry, first things, they usually look at the positive side. I'm going to be living a life of love. I'm going to be helping my fellow human being. I'm going to be connecting with the source of all being, and everything's going to be great. The universe is going to look out for me. And then you get into the ministry. And I think of tarot reading as a ministry. You get into the ministry of tarot reading, and you begin to discover, for most people, this will be fairly quickly in your career. You begin to discover how your energy can be drained by ministering to your clients and giving a tarot reading. You have to have an open heart. You have to have a relatively forgiving nature, although I know some tarot readers that might disagree with that. I tend to be coming more from the Franciscan side of things. Love, peace, forgiveness, all that good stuff. But you are going to be dealing with people sometimes at their best and other times at their worst. And if you are a human being with a heart, with a conscience, with feelings, with a sense of compassion and empathy, when you are dealing with people as they go through the worst moments in life, you are going to feel their pain. You are going to feel drawn down with them. And your talents as a counselor, not just as a tarot reader, but your talents as a spiritual counselor, are going to be tested. You will have to find within yourself the energy to commune with people, to deal with people when they're going through some of the worst tragedies in their life, and be there for them. And you're also going to have to develop within yourself the talent for letting them know that there is a bright side to all this. Believe it or not, there is a bright side to this darkness that you are walking through. And you have to be able to give them a little bit of hope, a little bit of encouragement, a few words of wise wisdom if you have it. If you don't and Spirit doesn't give it to you, do not try to force it. But you are also going to have to develop the talent of presence, the gift of presence. the art of not just telling people what to do and how to live their life. That is not spiritual counseling. That's a dictatorship. That's a parent talking to a child in, not a very positive way. But no, you are going to have to be able to sit there and listen and perhaps guide the person, to allow the person to figure out their own problems on their own, if they can. And it's amazing when you're dealing with people, how oftentimes you don't have to say a whole lot. You just have to give them the space and the freedom to discuss their situation with you. And on a fairly regular basis, they will usually work out their own problems by themselves, in their own words, just by talking it out with you or somebody else that they trust and respect and know. So tarot reading is not just a 9-to-5 job. This is a vocation that will have its upsides. It will have its pleasant moments when people are calling, they're going to get married, they want to find out what the energy is, for a spring wedding and things like that. And then there will be the downside. My husband just filed for divorce. It came out of the blue. I did not see it coming. And what the hell do I do now? And when you get to those darker moments, you are going to feel for your client. And you will be feeling drained after a long counseling session. And you're going to have to learn a few tools in order to give a quality tarot reading. You're going to have to learn not only to take care of your client, but also how to take care of yourself. Because there's a wise saying that's been around a long, long time. You can't give what you don't have. People come to you for comfort, for hope, for compassion, and you are just so emotionally drained that you just don't have it, that you're fresh out. That's not a good time to be doing a tarot reading. So you have to know, okay, when do I punch that time clock? And when do I not? You need to know that it's okay to take some time off when you need it, to dedicate time to developing yourself, healing yourself, ministering to yourself. And you also need to know it's okay to seek help from other counselors, other spiritual advisors that you trust, and have somebody else that you can lean on to. Otherwise, tarot reading, like any other form of ministry, is a job that can just eat you up and spit you out. But it's not all bad. And there are ways to deal with that. And we're going to be talking about that coming up right after this song by Yuri Liamkins, Nowhere to Drive.
Desert sands, the engine stopped. end is near. But take me, please, back to my lover. Is there a chance to get out of here? Some rays be down upon the blade, and all the stand. Let's stop your brain. The car broke down. Nowhere to drive. Nothing left just to survive.
Okay, this is Frater Ralph back again, and while we're talking about the business of tarot reading, I guess the perfect place to start is on whether or not to charge and on setting your own hours. And of course, if you're going to be doing tarot reading, uh, not only as a vocation, but in order to make a living, then yeah, you're going to have to figure out what rate do I charge. And the tendency, I think, with people who just first start to get into tarot reading and decide to, turn professional or go semi-professional with their art, is that they set their price too low. Most people, I know this has been a problem with me, but I think most people, when they go into a job market, they're not really thinking about what is the value of my labor. What is the value of this service that I have to offer? And thinking of it, in terms of a monetary value. And most people just go in there and they figure they're going to talk to the boss, and the boss is going to tell them, this is what you're going to be making, and then they'll have the option of either saying, yeah, where do I sign? Or saying, well, no, that's too chintzy, I'm going to go someplace else. But, a lot of people, they first get into the job market, they just figure that they're going to fill out an application and they're going to get a starting rate of pay, and they don't consider their wage any more deeply than that. Now, with tarot reading, it's not just another job in that respect either. You have to consider, okay, what is the value of what I have to offer? Am I a pro? Am I a semi-pro? Am I a superstar? I mean, am I, a highly, highly gifted person? Or am I just kind of hanging out online, doing this for fun, as a form of entertainment to people? And then just consider, okay, what is your talent worth? And I know this is difficult, especially when you're talking about something that is very near and dear to you, but try to put a dollar value on it. And I know we do a lot of crafts in our work. My wife does crochet. I've been trying to learn crochet. I do a basic crochet. I do woodwork. We're into a lot of different arts and crafts. And you put so much time into it. I mean, you just do it. We do it as a form of meditation. We don't just crank out a piece of art thinking we're going to sell it, for $50 or $1,000 or $50,000. We just do it out of love. And then somebody comes up and they see the piece and then they ask, I want to buy that from you. How much? And I mean, just right there, you have to think. You have to put a dollar value on it. You know what it's been worth to you to create that piece of art. But how do you put a dollar value on it so you can sell it to another person? Or do you even want to sell it to another person? There are some pieces of art that, we've created that just are not for sale, not at any price. And some folks view tarot reading in that light. My talent is just not for sale. But I'll do it in exchange for donations. And therein lies a problem. That was our attitude when we first started doing tarot readings. I did not want to put a dollar value on it. I considered this to be a very serious form of spiritual ministry. I couldn't put a price tag on it. So we just said, we're doing tarot readings privately. Get your tarot reading, and then afterwards, go back to our website, click the donate button, and just donate whatever you think it's worth. And in those early days, I was busy doing tarot readings. God, I had a list of like 50 people a day that wanted me to do their tarot reading. But when it came time to check our bank account to see how many donations were coming in, the figure was zip, zilch, nada, bupkis. I could go on in a few other languages, but I think you got the general idea. People would come and get their free tarot reading. That's how they saw it. It was a free tarot reading. And they would love it. They'd enjoy it. They'd say thank you. But then when it came time to click on the donate button, precious few ever did. 50 readings a day, essentially for free. Maybe it's just a personal problem, I don't know. But we just did not have luck being supported for tarot reading through donations. I mean, didn't even get enough to, pay the website or pay the business-related expenses. And that's another thing you have to consider. What is it going to cost if you want to be a private tarot reader and you're just hanging out on a sidewalk cafe with a deck of tarot cards and a cup of coffee? You don't have much overhead, except your gas to get to the location, and you're going to have to clear things with the owner of the cafe to make sure it's okay with him or her that you do face-to-face readings there. And most people, I would think, if they think it's good for their business, they'll probably not have a problem letting you do it. But even if you think you don't have any overhead, you still have to think of what is it going to cost, for me to just break even. Because in our first few years of tarot reading, I was running up money on credit cards, paying for websites, and then paying for electricity, and then the time that I put into creating these websites, developing these websites, and then the actual time spent doing the readings. And you stop and consider all those, ins and outs, and you figure that you do have some overhead. Even if you think you have no overhead, you've got overhead. If you're going to have a lot of people coming up to you for readings, like, I did, 50 people a day, uh, you're going to wear out a deck of tarot cards in no time at all. The way they make tarot cards these days, okay, I'm really going to show my age here, but they just don't make them like they used to, people. I'm sorry. Back in my day when I first started doing tarot readings, they made those cards out of real quality cardstock. And I've still got my first deck with me from the 1970s. And, it is holding up. It doesn't look the best. It is worn. It is dirty. But it is still holding up. The newer decks that they make today, lower quality cardstock, you can wear through those things within a few months. And they're not cheap. $20 for a deck of tarot cards, depending on the kind. So, yeah, figure what your yearly expense is going to be in tarot cards. Electricity, if you're doing it, online, your electricity, your computer connection cost, website costs. If you're doing it face-to-face, how much is it going to cost you to get your venue, to rent a space if you have to rent. If you're just doing it, in somebody else's venue and they're letting you do it rent-free, then you still have to figure up, your cost of gas and, getting to the site. And then your own personal time. How much is your time worth to spend it, in service of other people? And I know in the beginning, talking about tarot as a vocation, I did stress very, very heavily the aspect that this is a serious spiritual ministry. However, when you're in a spiritual ministry, you have to take care of your clients, but you also have to take care of yourself. And if you are being overwhelmed with expenses, you are running yourself into the ground trying to provide a necessary service or a good service, and you're not getting paid for it, you're going to burn out. You're going to burn out. In a ministry, yes, you have to take care of other people, but you also have to take care of yourself. Because otherwise, yes, you will find yourself flat broke, in the gutter, or maybe not that bad, but, broke, worn out, worn down, burned out, and you may just kick those tarot cards aside thinking, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm going to go out and get a real job. But with a little bit of planning, with a little bit of self-care, you can find that tarot reading is an adventure, one in which you make friends, you meet new, very interesting people, you deal with people during their best times, you deal with people during their worst times. And it has its ups, it has its rewards, it has its downsides. But with a little bit of care, planning, and taking care of yourself spiritually and financially, this can be a good vocation, both spiritually and financially. But you've got to be willing to take care of yourself too, spiritually, physically, and financially. Otherwise, you may not last long in this industry. I'm going to take another break, play a song here by Yuri Liamkins called Primal Dance, and we'll be back in just a few minutes.
Stay so far away from me. How I'd love to take you try to make you see that love is not a game. The instinct knows no shame. I'd love to take you to primal dance by the flame. I only try to make you see that love is not a game. The instinct knows no shame.
I know I'm showing my age again, but I love that guy. It sounds just like Paul McCartney, I think. And he does all of his own original work, as far as I know. He is billed as a singer-songwriter. So, and he just follows that old format, Paul McCartney and Wings kind of stuff. So it's kind of interesting. And being from an Eastern perspective, or shall we say Russian perspective, it's I don't know, it's just interesting form of music. But now, enough about that. Let's get on with tarot reading, not just another job. Now, we talked a little bit about money, and God, when it comes to money, you can go on and on and on and on. There's your costs, your expenses, your taxes, self-employment taxes. My God, people! Oh, if you overlook filing self-employment taxes, you can get into a little bit of, I won't say trouble, but some problems with the IRS. And been there, done that. We've worked our way out of it, but there's so many, financial things to consider, legal things to consider, tax-related things to consider. And if you're doing it, as a form of self-employment, you just have to just really sit down and do a lot of planning. But the other thing I want to get into today is setting your hours. When it comes to being a tarot reader, most people that are brand new at it think that, okay, I can set my hours like, okay, weekends I can be free, 9 to 5 or maybe 5 to midnight, and I will be there for my clients. I will be rested, I will be ready, and I will be good to go. And they think that tarot reading is, like any other job. You just go in there, you punch your time clock, and you just do the work even if you don't feel like doing it. And some people will, if you've worked out in the so-called real world, doing manual labor or clerical work, you can go in there with a cold or just recovering from the flu or just coming down with the flu, and you may not feel like being there, you may not feel like working, but you can kick in and just operate on automatic pilot, and just go through the motions and get the job done. Because, a lot of the jobs that they have out there are really, manual labor, not to downplay that at all, but it's stuff that you can do wide awake when you're feeling good and up and very energetic. And a lot of times it's just stuff that you can do by rote, unconsciously, without putting any feeling into it. You can be doing that job happy on the outside, while on the inside you're thinking, God, is it quitting time yet? I want to go home. I want to crawl back into bed. And with a lot of jobs, you can get away with doing it that way. Tarot reading, you cannot. Especially if you're charging your people a fairly good rate. And if you want to support yourself as well as other people by engaging in the ministry of tarot reading, you have to make sure that you are charging a fair rate, or a pretty good rate for you and them both. So you have to kind of consider, if you've got a cold, if you got allergies, and you are on uh, Benadryl or some other allergy medicine that takes care of the sniffles, but leaves you feeling just worn out and groggy and tired and needing to take a nap, and you're trying to do a tarot reading, you just have to ask yourself, can I actually be there for the client? Do I have the capacity to actually be on the job when I'm on the job? Because tarot reading is not a job that you can do by just showing up physically and then just going through the motions. It's a job where you have to put your heart into it. You have to have your mind clear. You have to have your spirit focused. You just have to have your energies there. And if you don't feel like you have the energy to engage with the public in doing tarot readings, if you honestly don't feel like you can be there for your clients that day, feel free to just take the day off. Yes, your regular clients will be disappointed when you're not there to take their calls, to do their readings, to give them advice, or just to hang out with them with a pack of tarot cards. But they're going to be even more disappointed if you show up not feeling at all good, not feeling like you can do a good job, and you do a terrible job or a poor job, or you just feel like you're just going through the motions, and you don't give them a quality tarot reading, and you don't help them out with their problems. And then you turn around and charge them $60 an hour for your service, or $120 or $300, or some people who are very, very good, very well focused, very excellent readers can charge quite a bit of money doing tarot readings. But when money is changing hands, you always have to feel like you are giving your client the best possible service. And if you don't feel like you can do that day, then by all means, take some time off. And for those of you who are doing tarot readings for non-profit, money's not an issue. Even, for you, if you're giving somebody a tarot reading and you don't feel up to it and you give them a lousy tarot reading and they come to you with a problem and they want help, they feel they need help, they feel that you're the person to help them, and you fall flat on your face, you fall down on the job, even if no money is changing hands, I feel that you're doing your client a disservice by engaging in that sort of behavior. So whether you charge a lot, charge a little, or don't charge at all, if you're doing a tarot reading and you just don't feel up to it, don't be afraid to tell the client, hey, I'm sorry, I'm not feeling up to this. I have to take some time off. I have to recharge my spiritual batteries. I'm recovering from the flu. I honestly don't feel that I can be there for you 100% right now. So can we reschedule? Or if you're reading on a network like we've worked through the network Keen Psychic readings. And there you are free to set your own hours. And you just kind of sign on when you're ready to go. And then when you don't feel up to it, you just sign off, or you just don't sign on. But yeah, you're free to set your own hours, and it's a very nice form of freedom. But at the same time, once you start developing, your regular clients and getting your regular clientele coming in, and they're used to you working, certain times, they kind of expect you to be there, at such and such a time on such and such a day because it's been your past pattern. And we all fall into patterns. So even when you're working for a network that gives you a radical liberty to set your own hours, you're still going to have the demands of people thinking that you should be there at your reading table at a certain time on a certain day, being open to do readings. But if you are burned out, if you can't do a good job, then feel like you have the freedom to just say no. Today I need to take some time off for myself. Maybe today and tomorrow and the next day. You may need a week. It kind of depends on what you have going on in your life. Sometimes there's physical illness. Sometimes there is mental, distress and unrest, family problems, funerals, deaths, just a whole gamut of the human adventure. And when you're going through some rough times yourself, you have to be able to just say no. I can't do my work right now at 100% capacity because I need time to heal myself. And then take the time off that you need to refresh, recharge, and heal. And then after you've had that Four of Swords moment of rest and recuperation and healing, then go back to your regular schedule. But yeah, taking care of your clients should be job number one. And I'd say, yeah, it is job number one. But there is a second job number one too, and that's taking care of yourself. Because if you let yourself get burned out just by being there too long, too many hours, then you're not really going to be providing a very good service. In our work, when we first got started doing it, we were flat broke. We really started doing tarot reading for profit because, well, not really for profit, but, as a vocation that we could earn a living at, because we didn't have any other options. We live in a rural area where economy has really been hit hard by globalism. And a lot of jobs have just vanished. Large multinational corporations have tried to step in and take over the mom and pop shops. Farms are just not as profitable as they used to be. Jobs are scarce. So, we just had to get creative. And luckily, we hit on something that for us worked. But again, in the beginning, when we were doing tarot readings, I was thinking, okay, we need money, and so we need to put in the time, we need to put in the hours. And God, we were doing this like 7 days a week. And I wasn't getting very many people coming to me because the competition amongst people doing readings in English is just pretty good. There's a lot of other people that are out there trying to do the same thing as you. Earn a living helping other people by doing tarot readings. And I'm an English speaker. I was offering English language tarot readings. And like on the website I was working on, there were like a couple thousand at least, a couple thousand other people offering their services. So I'd sit there at night, 8 hours sometimes, waiting for the phone to ring for me. And sometimes it'd be silence. And then just as I was getting burned out just by sitting there waiting for the phone to ring and thinking, okay, I'm worn out, I'm tired of sitting around here, I'm going to quit my job, turn my site off, and do something else. Sometimes that's when the phone would ring and a client would be there wanting me to do a reading. But Our attitude at that point in time was we're going to be doing this 7 days a week, 8 hours a day, 7 days a week, working it as uh, just another job and working it fairly aggressively. And what we found, especially with my wife, now she is a tarot reader who does tarot readings in Spanish. And she found that was her niche. Very few readers on some networks that do Spanish language readings. So she was busy. I mean, almost from the first day. She had clients that would call her and spend an hour with her on the phone, and started out kind of small, maybe 2 or 3 hours of steady readings a day, and then from that it built, and we thought, okay, this is going to pay the bills. This is going to keep a roof over our heads. We're helping other people, at least my wife is, in Spanish, and they're paying us to do it, so we're helping other people while at the same time helping ourselves. And boy, if we can just do this pretty aggressively for, a few months, 7 days a week, we'll be back in good financial shape. What we did not take into account, what I did not take into account, is the emotional drain that is placed on the reader. And if you're trying to do it 7 days a week, even just 8 hours a day, or even just 5 or 6 hours a day, you're going to become drained. And after a while, I mean, we began to notice that. My wife was feeling drained, sucked dry, worn out. I was seeing that it was affecting her. So we started to cut back. I gave her 1 day off, and that helped, but it wasn't really doing, doing the trick that she needed. She didn't have the time to adequately take care of herself with only 1 day off. So then we said, okay, we'll take 2 days off, and that helped more. But she was still, I mean, as the more her popularity grew, the more her clientele list grew, the more personal energy she was putting into this to serve the needs of others, the more drained she became. And so we just finally figured we hate to do it because we thought that it would affect our finances, but said, okay, you need to take 3 days off, 4 days off, whatever it takes, even if you're just working a long weekend. Just do what you honestly feel you can do, and take the time you need to recoup your energy and renew your spirit and recover emotionally and spiritually and physically. And you know what we discovered? When you take the time to take care of yourself, the money that you make just working like 3 days a week or 4 days a week is just as good as it is if you're working yourself 7 days a week, because you give better readings. People appreciate it more. They spread your fame over the internet. They recommend you to others. They say, this is a really good quality tarot reader. She knows her stuff. She knows what she's doing. Give her a call. You won't be disappointed. And when you're taking the time you need to take care of yourself, and you give quality readings, people will still, even if you're only doing it 3 days a week, people will stand in line waiting for their turn. And if another thing is true too, that if you're a really good tarot reader and your clients know that you're good, and you have to take like 3 days off or 4 days off a week, they'll wait for you. Most of the times they'll wait for you. What happened in our experience with my wife is really kind of funny, because when she first started taking, some serious time off to heal herself, she had some of her clients that were impatient. They didn't want to wait. So they saw that she wasn't on the network, so they'd go with somebody else on the same network to get a tarot reading in Spanish. And they'd get a terrible reading. Or maybe not a terrible reading, maybe that's overstating it, but just not the same caliber of reading that they were used to. And here they'd spend their money on another reader and then hang up the phone feeling like their problem wasn't addressed. I mean, the advice, the counseling they were receiving was just not the same. Some respects, it was just the exact opposite. So then after that experience, they would wait for my wife to get back online and then schedule an appointment and call her up and talk with her and make their confession that, yeah, I knew you were off, the last 3 days. I went ahead and I saw another reader, and I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed that I did. I should have waited for you. When you start developing good relationships with your clients and they feel a connection, and when tarot reading is done right, there is a connection. Call it a spiritual connection, a psychic connection, a mental bond, however you choose to understand it. There is a connection. And when that relationship deepens, you can tell when that connection is there and when that connection is not there. And when you need time to refresh and recharge and renew your energy, people will understand, and they will appreciate being able to talk to you when they can, when that connection is strong. They'll feel a lot better about that than they would, talking to you when that connection is weak, or talking to another reader that may not have that same connection at all. So, again, just take the time you need to take care of yourself. I'm going to play another song here by Yuri Liamkins called Treasure. And then we'll be back to talk about spiritual practices that you can do to keep your connection strong. Your connection with your clients, your connection with spirit, your connection with the universe.
You say come in, but I see no entrance. You say breathe, but there's no air. You say look outside, but I see no window. You say sit down, but there's no chair. I saw that in the morning, walking down the street, I thought the water line. Some treasure had been shown. I just felt this way exactly when we met. When I met her there, she looked so sexy with a passion man, get a broken rule. So I followed her and swirled up Pepsi. Maybe I'm a bit crazy, but I ain't a fool. I saw them in the morning, walking down the street, I thought the water. Show me, I just felt this way exactly when we just felt this way exactly when we you say come in, but I see no entrance. You say breathe, but there's no air. You say look outside, but I see no window. You say sit down, but there's no chair. I saw that in the morning, walking down the street, I thought that what a luck. Some treasure had been shown me. I just felt this way exactly when we met.
Okay, I started off this broadcast on a spiritual note, and I think it is more than appropriate to end it on a spiritual note. Whatever your spirituality is, whatever your path, whatever your walk, take care of yourself spiritually. Do whatever rituals or meditations or practices that give you the strength to engage in this art, that give you happiness, that allows you to find peace and to seek balance, and gives you energy to operate as a spiritual being in flesh and blood, in a flesh and blood body. So many times, we focus on our body. We focus on we just focus on physical needs, and we forget that we're spiritual beings. We forget that we have spiritual needs. And it's important to take care of yourself spiritually. Most people, if they see you walking down the street and you don't have any gunshot wounds, they figure you're okay. Oh, I was just remembering a stand-up comedian that used that line, ladies, we men, if we don't see bullet holes, we figure you're okay. But, there is a spiritual side to our personalities. There's an emotional side, there's a mental side. And sometimes people suffer from illnesses, or they're just worn out. They may look fine physically, but emotionally, mentally, spiritually, they may be in complete and utter turmoil. There's a lot of wounds that don't shed blood, not physical blood. And so you have to take care of yourself on more than just the physical level. Take care of yourself spiritually. And whatever spiritual practices that you do, make sure you do them. Do them on a regular basis. If you don't have a spiritual practice, get some. I don't care what it is. It may be meditation, maybe making clay bunnies, it may be crochet, it may be prayer. Whatever your spiritual walk is, make sure you don't neglect it. And of course, from my perspective, I'm all into prayer and meditation. Now, for tarot readers that are atheists, prayer may be a bit of a challenge. That may not work for you. And there are some very good tarot readers that are atheists. So just stick to the meditation or commune with nature. Whatever works for you from your own spiritual perspective, that do. And do not neglect it. Because by keeping your connection strong with the supreme being, the higher power, the divine as you understand the divine. By keeping that connection strong, you help to strengthen your connection with the rest of the universe. And you also help to strengthen your connection between you and other people, and between you and your clients. People can go easily days and days and days without engaging in meditation. But you can't go days and days and days without eating, because your body starts to wither and you get hunger pangs, and you feel that, at least once a day or so, you need to eat something. Meditation and spiritual practice isn't exactly the same. By feeding our body, we may think we're doing enough to be good spiritual people, or just to be good people and be able to go out there and get our daily work done. But tarot readers have got to be spiritual people, at least from my perspective. And going like a week or a month without meditation or prayer or some other form of spiritual practice is the same as trying to go a day or a week or a month without eating. Nobody in their right mind would do that as long as food was available. They would eventually break down and eat and take care of their body. We need to make sure that we do our spiritual practices on a daily basis, and make sure that we feed not only our body, but also our mind and our spirit. And one form of spiritual practice that any tarot reader can do, and I think should do, is to just sit down with one tarot card and meditate on that card. Commune with that card. Do some spiritual reading concerning that card. Most people, when they first get into tarot reading, they think, they pick up the tarot instruction book, sort of what I call the recipe book. They'll read what the meaning of the card is and memorize that, and then think that they're good to go. But there are a lot of good tarot books that also cover the spirituality of tarot, the occult meanings behind the symbology, and books that are dedicated to, like, meditating on the tarot. I've got one excellent book that I'm wading through now called Meditations on the Tarot. And just a lot of very good spiritual authors out there that do a good job presenting tarot as a spiritual art and a form of spirituality in and of itself. So take your time. If you're Christian or Jewish or Muslim or Hindu or Buddhist, and you have your scriptures that you like to read, make sure you do that scripture reading. If you're a pagan, if you're an occultist, if you don't have any set scriptures, then go ahead and let the tarot become your scripture, because that can work too. And make sure you do your contemplative spiritual reading by picking out a good book on tarot, talking about the spirituality of tarot, and read it carefully, lovingly, contemplatively. Just do it as a form of not just educating your mind, but as a form of meditation, reading it to feed your spirit. So, when it comes to tarot reading, from my perspective anyway, I think you do have to be a spiritual person. What brand of spirituality? It's totally up to you. I don't care, if you're a member of the mainstream religions or some of the not so mainstream religions or the pagan religions. You may just be a free spirit, spiritual but not religious, not affiliated with any spiritual school of thought. But find a spiritual path that works for you and then walk it. Feed yourself on all the different levels that human beings are. Physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. Take time for yourself. And if something isn't right, take some time out. Work it out. Do what you can to make it right. And if you have to call another tarot reader or some other spiritual advisor that you know and trust, and you want to talk it out so you can feel better about yourself and feel energized, then go ahead and do that. But tarot reading is not just a 9-to-5 job. It is an adventure, but it's not just another job. And if we approach it like it is just a job that you can just show up, half sick or hungover or half drunk, or, under the influence of prescription medications or allergy medicines, and you just don't feel like doing a good job, you don't feel like you can do a good job, then you shouldn't. Take the time off that you need to get your connection with spirit strong, and then you can do a good job for your clients, and you can do a good job for yourself. I'm going to end on that note. This has been Tarot Tuesday with Hermetic Temple Radio. After this broadcast, we are going to begin dismantling our studio. We are moving to a new location, so I don't know when I'll be back on the air next. I was going to take today off, but I thought, no, Tarot Tuesday is something I have neglected. I felt up to doing it today. I thought wouldn't hurt to take an hour and a half off to go ahead and do the program. So I did it. I will be off the air tomorrow and possibly Thursday. We'll just see how fast this moving process goes. But in the meantime, I hope you all take care, have a blessed day of spiritual discovery. And if you'd like to make a donation to support these podcasts, you can go ahead and make a Bitcoin donation using the Bitcoin key given in the program description of this episode. Or you can go online and donate at our temple website, www.hermetictemple.com, and just hit the donate key and give whatever amount you would like. If you would like to order a tarot reading, and I will be available to do tarot readings over the weekend, you can go to my private website, www.tarotbyralph.com, and go ahead and follow the instructions. If you have any questions or concerns, you can email me through that website. Just hit the contact form and go ahead and do it. But until we meet again in the ether, as it were, I wish you a blessed day of spiritual discovery, and I'm going to conclude with Prometheus by Hunter and the Dirty Jacks. You all take care, and thanks for hanging out with me today.
It's just been dark at night. Once the sun goes down, there's no more heat and no light. But the cold outside, it only chills to the bone. So I walk on little limp instead of sleeping alone. Off in the distance, my heart felt the glow upon the mountain of knowledge where it's forbidden to go. side was this lady of flame. The moment I saw her, it was clear why I came. This is a daughter of Zeus, yeah, those are clearly the odds. Now I got something in mind, I gotta steal from the gods. She moves with the flicker, she goes red, orange, and blue. And come with me, child, I'll light my whole world with you.